This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Asian refiners, traditionally big buyers of Iranian oil, are keen to resume imports from Iran if there is an agreement to revive a 2015 nuclear deal, which could pave the way for more supply on global markets and soften prices. Most Asian buyers halted Iranian oil imports in 2019 after former U.S. President Trump withdrew from the nuclear deal with Iran and reimposed sanctions on Tehran's oil exports. Indirect talks between Iran and the United States on the nuclear deal resumed last week. Western diplomats have indicated they hope to have a breakthrough by now, but tough issues remain unresolved.
Oil prices fell on Thursday as talks to resurrect a nuclear deal with Iran entered their final stages, but losses were capped by heightened tensions between top energy exporter Russia and the West over Ukraine. Brent crude traded down $1.26, or 1.3%, at $93.55 a barrel by 0914 GMT. U.S. West Texas Intermediate (WTI) crude was down $1.34, or 1.4%, at $92.32. Both contracts fell more than 2% earlier in the session. The oil market is locked in a tug-of-war between Iranian sanctions relief and Russian-Ukraine tensions, said Stephen Brennick at brokerage PVM Oil.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
India's imports of oil from Iraq surged in January to a 29-month high of about 1.3 million barrels per day, BPD, making up nearly a third of the supplies to Asia's third-largest economy, data from shipping and industry sources show. Iraq's importance as a key supplier is set to grow this year as at least two Indian refiners have increased their annual oil import deals with the second biggest OPEC producer. India imported 4.6 million barrels of oil per day of oil in January, a decline of about 1% from the previous month and about 3% from the year earlier, data compiled by Reuters showed. Imports from Iraq were the highest since August 2019.
Origin Energy said on Thursday it plans to shut the Australia's biggest coal-fired power plant in 2025, 7 years earlier than scheduled, as an influx of wind and solar power has made the plant uneconomic to run. Origin's announcement to quit coal-fired power follows moves by its rivals to accelerate the closure of their coal-fired plants, all struggling with sliding power prices which have hurt plants that don't have the flexibility to switch off when there is surplus energy. The reality is the economics of coal-fired power stations are being put under increasing, unsustainable pressure by cleaner and lower-cost generation, including solar, wind and batteries, Origin Energy Chief Executive Frank Calabria said in a statement. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. China's state planner has told some iron ore traders to release excessive inventory and reduce stocks to reasonable levels, following a joint investigation with the market regulator in Qingdao, one of the country's biggest iron ore ports. The National Development and Reform Commission, NDRC, said in a statement on Thursday that it and the State Administration of Market Regulation, SAMR, have learned of changes of iron ore inventory in Qingdao port and retrieved a list of companies with rapid growth in their stockpiles. The authorities held a symposium and requested some iron ore trading firms to provide their recent inventory information, when they bought and sold the products, and other details including quantity and price.
Gold jumped more than 1% on Thursday, as Russian news reports of a mortar fire in eastern Ukraine led investors towards safe haven assets, while dovish signals from U.S. Federal Reserve's minutes of meeting also underpinned bullion. Spot gold climbed 1.2% to $1,890.95 per ounce as of 0942 GMT, after hitting its highest since June 11 of $1,892.91 earlier. U.S. gold futures also gained 1.2% to $1,893.60. Gold benefited from renewed tensions in Eastern Europe. Palladium is likely to move in a similar way, but the moves are driven by supply concerns, while gold benefits from its safe haven status, UBS analyst Giovanni Stornovo said.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Egypt, often the world's top wheat importer, is not concerned with the global decline in wheat stocks as it benefits from a diverse pool of suppliers, the supply ministry told Reuters in a statement. Our tender book includes 16 wheat import origins, which provides us with flexibility when it comes to managing the country's needs for imported wheat, the statement said. Wheat stocks held by major exporters such as the European Union and United States are on track to fall to a 9-year low this season, according to the International Grains Council, with the drop in global output sparking a hunt for supplies. Tensions between Russia and Ukraine could also lead to disruptions in the grains market.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.